All right, let's finish up, if we can. Black Elk Speaks. We went through some of it before the period ended last time, and I think he was in Europe, wasn't he? He had gone to Europe, and he almost thought they died, and let's see. This is across the big water. And who does he meet? Grandmother, right? She says, I'm 67 years old, and I've seen all kinds of people. I don't know what page it is in your book, about 169, 170 in your book. But I've never seen people as beautiful as you. And he thinks that he liked grandmother England. He thought that they were really, that she was really something special. And in the next chapter, 20, he said after that was all over, the happy time, we went to Manchester, which, if you know England, that's in northern England, industrial town, and they got lost there, so they just roamed around. They found some other Lakotas. And finally, they got some money to go on the Iron Road to London. And it was another guy's show called Mexican Joe. He had a show there. In any case, he went to Paris. And he found a girlfriend in Paris, funnily enough. Well, everyone finds girlfriends in Paris. That's well known. Not in those days, anyway. So he just is doing the Paris thing, and you know, apparently people in Paris. I think people in Paris are more racist now than they were then. Actually, I mean, I don't think France is free of racism today. It's got real. I think if you went to France, you'd find more problems than you have in this country, actually, where racism is concerned. They've got serious issues there, and they've got soccer riots now. They've got people, fascist, skinhead people, go to soccer games and beat people up, and they've had a killing recently there. And I think they took a poll recently, something like 17% of the people feel like that. That's a lot. That's 17% of the sort of dumb people, you know, the sort of people down the scale. So when you get 17% of the sort of dumb people, you know, feeling that way, you can get a lot of violence. You can get a lot of violence, and I think that's what you're saying. So anyway, Paris back in those days was sort of like, you know, anything went. For instance, after the World War I and World War II, a lot of Afro-Americans stayed in Paris. Who was that famous singer, Afro-American singer that became famous in Paris before his Bergère stayed on? Josephine Baker. You know, she just became the toast of Paris for a long time. And then she had an orphanage down in southern France that lost all her money in the end. And it's a very tragic story by the end of her time. But after World War I, you know, things were really very open in terms of acceptance of different kinds of people. And you know, she was very highly regarded. And of course, James Baldwin went there because he felt he could be freer there. So, huh? Yeah, well, there you go. Now you're getting beyond my cultured range, you know. I know Richard Wright and some of the other novelists of the 1940s and 50s and so on. A lot of them went there. But now it isn't like that anymore. And as I said, it's gotten worse instead of better. So you can see that Black Elk could have a girlfriend in Paris. And probably would get a girlfriend in Paris more likely than he would in New York or Chicago, actually. You know, given the racial temperament of the time and outlook and so on, the way people saw things. Now it would be just the opposite. as I said. But in any case, he got sick there, I think, and she took care of him and looked after him and nursed him back to health. Her and her family, I think he lived with her family. From Paris, we went into Germany, and yeah, I was sick. The next page there, what page is that in your book? Second page of chapter 20, 172, 73. And he didn't have enough money. And the girl I told you about took me home to her father and mother, you see that? And they made me well. So, you see, that's really very modern, very advanced. And this would be 1880s, maybe late 1880s, beginning of the 1890s, perhaps. And the girlfriend was sitting by me, and her mother and father and two sisters were sitting there. So they were very liberal, you see. And the roof seemed to be moving, and you see he's in the same situation again when he was young. He's having the fever, and he remembers, and he's having his vision experience again. And the house was going around at the top and stretching upwards, and a cloud was coming as we rose, and I was on it, and it's that old cloud vision where he's riding clouds again. And I was alone on the cloud, and I could see houses far below, and I was riding over the big water, and I was going home. I love his description of visions. Whether it's all him or Neihart, I don't know. But I think those are really nice. I was right over the big water, and he flew over where he first got on a big fireboat, which was New York Harbor. I was on my way to my own country, and I was very happy now, and I could far off see the black hills in the center of the world where the spirits had taken me in my great vision. And then I was right over Pine Ridge. Any of you ever been to Pine Ridge? Well, Pine Ridge is a reservation now in western South Dakota, eastern Montana. When you get into it, you know you're there. It's another world. You get in there, and the big highways stop. The sort of expensive road construction projects are gone, and you're back into another universe. It's not perhaps so enthralling, but you should go through there sometime if you travel this country. Anyway, there was a lot of trouble back there in the, what was it, in the 60s and 70s period when they had not just Black Power movement, but they had the American Indian movement, the AIM it was called.